Hi everybody, it's Richard from the Homeschool Freedom Club, and I've got another How I Earn and Home Educate video coming to you today. Today I'm talking to Lexy Jarvis, who's kindly agreed to come and spend a little bit of time with me and to talk about what it is she does and how she earns a living and how she home eds and what have you. So welcome, Lexy. Thanks ever so much for coming in and agreeing to chat.
No, thank you for having me, for inviting me.
So can you just give us a little bit of background about yourself?
Okay, so I'm 30 years old. I'm married. I have three very wild children, two daughters and a son. And my son is 2, and my eldest daughter is nearly 10. So you can imagine the chaos and the
Wow.
carnage. It is my life. Yeah, we live in not so sunny Leicester in the
Mhm.
UK. It's all right. It's muggy more than anything. And yeah, so I have just started. I say I've just started. I've just kind of expanded on something that I have been doing already for the last almost a year, actually. So I published a book without intending to publish a book on the 8th of May last year. So,
Oh wow.
and then just recently, I decided that I wanted to kind of go a bit more solo because I was working with Kindle Direct Publishing, which is part of Amazon.
Yeah.
Um, and obviously, you're aware, you have to support your family any which way that you can.
Yeah.
And it wasn't happening. I was making sales, but I was getting maybe 10% and Amazon was getting the rest. It was really
Wow.
quite painful to watch. So yeah, I wanted to go solo. So I've just recently branched out myself and kind of taken full reins with all my equipment to do. Oh, I'm so sorry, my cat's knocking my camera.
Oh, don't worry.
To to do everything. So
So,
yes, let me just schedule that.
so tell me a little bit more about the books then. I mean, were these things that you'd had in the back of your mind for a long time to do, or was it something you just suddenly felt the urge to do one day and you sat down and just started sort of scribbling away at it? What was it?
So I've always had a keen interest in arts and crafty things. So that side
Yeah.
of it, I was already kind of putting something together. And what I'd done is, oh, I'm so sorry, bloody thing. So because my, there we go, because my youngest was only one at the time, I wanted to do something.
Yeah.
And so I did a course from home. I did understanding mental health in children and young people,
Yeah.
and I wanted to do something with that. And so then I decided, what could I do? And I put myself a pack together for my children, for my own children,
Okay.
because I also, admittedly, have ongoing mental health issues. They're much more positive now, I
Yeah.
will say. It's
Good.
taking control of my own life, which is fantastic. But because at the time there was a period of darkness, um, I felt a real drive to want to give my own children something so that, number one, we're very open in this house,
Yeah.
in an appropriate way. We're very open. So my children were very aware that some days I'll have down days,
Hmm.
and they know sort of my triggers, so they're a bit more kind of careful and cautious if I'm having a down day.
Yeah.
Um, but I wanted them to really understand why that is.
Yeah.
It's not just something, it's so consuming. And I don't think really, I mean, I come from a place where I don't think that as a child we had enough support and learning about mental health ourselves. And if we
Yeah.
did, we'd have probably learnt the tools with how to deal with it. So then as
Yeah.
adults, we wouldn't need to rely on medication and counselling. We'd be able to kind of find ways to cope before it became problematic.
Yeah.
So yeah, I put together a pack for my own children, and before I knew it, I'd written 180 pages, and it was
Wow.
like, okay, I'm going to turn this into a book. So yes, that brought the creation of A Journey to Understanding Me, which I have both the Amazon version I will show you
Yeah.
and the
Please
version
do.
that I've done. So on Amazon, it is still on Amazon, but I don't know whether to bring it away and just take full control.
Yeah.
This is what it looks like as a book form.
Wow.
And you'll see it is just full of all activities and bright colours.
Yeah.
And it's got positive affirmations throughout. It's got things about healthy eating. It's got things about being outdoors, being creative, and then a huge section about mental health itself. And it goes into what each particular emotion is. So,
Yeah.
and it kind of encourages a child to unpick and underpin what is happiness, what does that look like, what does it smell like to me, what does
Yeah.
it feel like, because it's so interpersonal, isn't it? So yeah, that's basically what this is. It's an activity journal for children to promote mental well health and well-being.
Yeah.
um and then just recently, I decided, of course, I didn't want to do with Amazon anymore. I wanted to do it myself.
Yeah.
So I now have it in A4 format, and
Oh
it's
wow.
ring bound, which is so exciting because you can literally just, I mean, which is
Fantastic.
great, absolutely great. But yeah, that's what I'm doing at the moment, and more journals and an array of stationery that's come
Yeah.
with it. So
Just one of the things I've been loving doing with this like series of interviews. There's been such a range and such a variety of things that people are doing from home. Because one of the things I wanted to get out there is just the fact that you can do stuff from home, even if you're home educating. You can still find time to do all these things, and you can earn money from home because. One of the big barriers to people home educating, I think, in a lot of cases, is the financial one. I can't afford it. We can't lose an income. We can't do this. We can't do that. And but you don't have to. You can find your niche. You can find your passion, and you can monetize it. Honestly, it's which sounds, I don't know, maybe sounds a bit capitalistic or something, but the fact is, if you're doing something that you love and that you're passionate about, why not to make money off it if it can help other people as well? And
yeah,
mental health, I mean, you're absolutely right. It's one of these things that does get swept under the carpet. I suffered with depression for quite a lot of years. I didn't recognize it as such. I just had periods of time where I was very down, and I never even thought about it. And um, yeah, I was lucky to have a very supportive wife actually, who really helped me come through that patch, and I managed to give myself the tools to sort of come out of that as well. So
yeah,
it's and that was just researching online. So it's wonderful to see someone who's putting something out there that can actually help people understand themselves firstly.
yeah. This is it.
But
There's so
yeah,
many ideas as well. Like, one of the next ones I'd quite like to do is a bit more aimed at teenagers, and less how their body's changing, but more how their mind's changing as
yeah,
their body's changing, things like that. Because obviously we know the surge of hormones is what triggers a lot of mental health. And again,
yeah,
there's all this information about, for children, particularly in schools, what to do with themselves, and how to act in terms of going through that stage of their life. But there's
yeah,
nothing in terms of mental health at all that I'm
yeah.
aware of anyway.
No, I mean you're right, and I think there's so many pressures, especially that's the sort of when you hit high school age. There's so many additional pressures that time of at school, of exams. There can be bullying. There can be all sorts
Yeah,
of other stuff going on, and maybe you've got issues at home or whatever, and it's a really really hard time, as you say anyway, just with that surge of hormones. But if you add other stuff to that, it's not so really surprising that actually young people do end up with these mental health
yeah,
issues. And
yeah, this is it.
I mean, how do you get on? How do you find that? Does that affect you in your day to day with the home educating? I mean, you're saying that you've sort of taught your kids now. They know when you're feeling down, that they know what your triggers are and how to avoid them. Do you? Has that must have made life a lot easier? Firstly, but did it affect you with the home education? Have you home educated them all right from the start, like they haven't been to
No,
school?
so yeah, so obviously Maverick is 2,
Yeah,
so he won't go to school at all. Both Hallie and Willow, they went to school, and we decided literally just after we got married in August last year
yeah,
that we were not going to be sending them back. I have always wanted to home educate them. When I was pregnant with Hallie, which was Oh my goodness, she's going to be 10 in August, so a long time ago. And I wanted to then, but obviously back then, I suppose neither me or my husband really knew anything
Mhm.
about it. And it was no, no, no. Society says they go to school, and
Yeah,
that's very much life that we led back then. Was no, society tells us we do this, so we do this. We fit in. This is
yeah,
what is normal to do. Um, and for the last sort of, I would say, 2 years before pulling them out of education, I'd been researching and really kind of understanding my rights as a parent, because
mhm,
I think that's a big one as well.
yeah,
Is that people don't understand their rights as a parent when it comes to education and the fight that they have to go through. That's There's no reason to go through it because it's not legally binding.
yeah,
So I needed to know my rights. I needed to know what was in the area in terms of socialization,
yeah,
what I could provide, what I could do for them, the kind of education I wanted to deliver. Did I want to stick to the curriculum? So there was a lot of research that went into it for a couple of years. And then we just decided that was it. We weren't sending them back to school.
yeah,
Um, and I would say, not to sound biased, but I do tell everybody who asks, because a lot of people that know me well did reach out and say, how are you going to manage in terms of having ongoing mental health conditions? How are you going to manage? Because you're not going to get that break in the daytime.
yeah,
And again, I don't want to be biased, but honestly, my mental health has improved so much since my children have been at home that I think a lot of it stems down to the pressures, the
yeah,
having to constantly and consistently perform,
yeah,
not seeing my own children. And when I do see them, I'm having to do homework with them, spellings with them, reading with them, all to tick the boxes from the school. And in the meantime, the school's sending 50,000 text messages a day. So you're like this all the time. And
yeah,
there's so much freedom now that, yeah, it's like, oh my God, I can relax.
yeah.
So, yeah.
That's that's a really interesting take actually, because I think a lot of people think that having their kids at home all the time will basically end up with them losing their sanity. Um, it's there is that view, and I was probably in that camp. I mean, we started home educating after COVID, and actually it's been the opposite from that. I mean, it's like everywhere. You're a family. You have good days. You have bad days. You have ups and downs. It's normal. Normal life happens, but it's been nowhere near what I thought it would. And as you say, I have a 20-year-old who's been through the school system, so I've done that,
Mm.
and I've seen what that looks like. And it's so much more relaxed and not, that rushing. I used to hate the mornings, just that rushing around, trying to cram some breakfast down get some breakfast down your child, rushing to school so they're not late, so they don't get some sort of mark against them. And as you say, it's all because, well, A, it's this kind of urge to conform, but also it's just what we did and we perpetuate it or perpetuated it.
Yeah.
It's just habit, isn't it? And it's not until you step back from that. And also, a lot of people just, I think, don't realise that you can, certainly in England and Wales, I think it's a bit different in Scotland, but you can just write a letter to your school and say, I'm taking my child out of school now. And
Yeah.
job done.
I've had, to be fair, since we've done it, I've had a couple of people reach out that have said, how do I do this? Help me. And
Yeah,
rather than saying to them, this is what you do, it's like, I want you to familiarize yourself with this because you have
yeah,
to understand this. Because when you do, it's all well and good somebody saying to you, oh, you can just do this. But when you
yeah,
read it and you go, oh my goodness, actually, that's when you really understand. And I think it's one of those, isn't it? That it's you have to step away from the situation. And that's when you kind of see the rigidity of the school system.
yeah.
And it's like you say, rushing in the morning so that they're not late. Why? Because if
Mhm.
they're late, you get a text message or an email, you get a letter sent home, you get a passive aggressive threat, your child
Yeah,
has a really bad day. And
yeah,
it's like all of this just to tick a box. That's
yeah.
ridiculous.
And to say,
So it's
yeah,
go
sorry,
on, sorry.
I was going to say, and say nothing of the fact that, if you want to take your child out of school during term time for a holiday, then you get fined, and
Oh,
all
it's
this sort of stuff
ridiculous
as
now,
well. It's nuts,
isn't it?
isn't it? And how much the kids learn when they travel? Way more than they
Oh,
do when they're sat in the classroom.
this is it. Well, do you know what? So I do have a friend, and obviously I won't mention names or anything like that.
Yeah,
But she has a situation with her child where her child is a SEND child within a school,
Right.
and the school I'm very familiar with for personal reasons. And so when he's at school, he's within a hub,
Hmm.
and so it's just a teacher that watches them all day. He doesn't really do anything. They don't do any work because they can't control it. And when he's at home, at the moment he's not working, but it's like I've said to her, if you're going to deregister him, he should really go through an unschooling process. That's what I've learned. Familiarize yourself with
Yeah.
this. Um, but my thing that I've always said to her is okay, so you're worried that if he's at home, he's not going to learn anything.
Hmm.
If he's at home, he's going to be relaxed and he's going to feel safe. While
Yeah.
he's at school, he's feeling on edge and unsafe and he's not learning anything. So he's
Yeah.
not learning anything at school. He's not
Yeah.
learning anything at home, but the difference is how he feels as a person. And
Which is
that's tremendous, I think.
that's hugely important. But I think it's also a fallacy to say that he doesn't learn anything at home, because
Oh
you know,
no, well,
kids, they're with you, they're watching what you do, they're watching you in the kitchen or out in the garden, or and they're learning all the time. I mean, this is the thing that's astounded me. My 5-year-old, like I say, she's not even been to kindergarten, and yet she's wanting to learn to write by herself because she sees her big brother doing it, and she's starting to write. She's
wow.
starting to read. She's just started to read completely organically. I've never sat down. I mean, we read to them, but we've
Yeah.
never forced them to sit down with books and read. And now she's just picking up books and starting to read them just because she wants to, and there's that just that intrinsic motivation. And they don't need school. It's a really simple.
No,
They don't need it to learn.
this is
You
it.
know, I know some people do think that the socialization aspect of school is important, but it's a real. Do you go out in life looking for people that were born between I don't know the 1st of September 1987 and the 31st of August 1988 to
Yeah.
socialize with? It's just it's just so weird. I just find it all really 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 bizarre.
This is it. I think at my age, I probably have the friends that I speak to regularly,
Yeah,
maybe one or two that are my age that I personally knew from school. The rest of them I've met in different aspects of my
yeah,
life that are varying ages. My friendship group, actually, there's one person in our friendship group that's a little bit older than me, and the
yeah,
rest of them are all so much younger than me, and
yeah,
yet we all just click incredibly. But at one point I was starting high school and they hadn't even started primary school. So it's
wow,
absolutely bizarre, isn't it?
yeah,
If you like kind of you think about it and you line it up and compare it to the school system.
yeah. Well, I mean, I've got a similar situation. My wife's nearly 9 years younger than me, so it's same thing. When I started high school, she was nowhere near primary school. So yeah,
Yeah,
and it just it
this
sort of
is
shows
it.
all it's all very sort of enforced and fake and yeah. So but the other thing that you're doing, I understand you're doing some stickers. Is that right?
I am, yes,
Yeah.
yes. So because I wanted to do my books, I invested in a brilliant printer. It's my favorite thing
Uh-huh.
ever. And I've been lucky enough to kind of have temporary ownership of my sister-in-law's Cricut. So I've been doing a lot of crafting over a couple of years. And it was actually, again, my daughters, I journal.
Uh-huh.
So aside from me making journals, I also do bullet journals
Yeah.
for myself. And this year, my daughters wanted to get in on that. And so then they said, can we make some stickers? And so we sat and we made stickers on the computer, and I'd ordered some sticker paper. We printed them off, we cut them out on the Cricut, and we started putting them in our journals. And before I knew
Uh-huh.
it, it was like, this is so much fun. I'm really enjoying this.
Yeah.
And actually, can make a couple of quid doing this. So again, it's the fact that you can make some money doing something that you love.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And so what
really,
sort of
really
things
fun.
are on the stickers then?
I have an absolute range. So I have obviously appropriateness. We can range from children's kind of motivational stickers to
Uh-huh.
adults telling the world exactly what they think of it. But I have an absolute range. It depends really what you want to see. I go with trends as well. So I've gone with some things that I find people you observe a lot when you're on social media, the likes of TikTok and Instagram, and you can see what people are talking about. And,
Yeah,
you know, a new film comes out and it's the hype. So it's being able to create something that fits in with that, just to kind of, that's it then, everyone's got to have it.
yeah, yeah,
But
exactly.
yes, I have some hilarious stickers. I find them funny anyway. And it's very much um
Go on, give us some
telling the
examples.
telling the world. So I do have, let me just try and find um so some that define me, I would say.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Everybody knows what that says. But we also have some like this, sarcastic, sweary, awkward. We have some beautiful glittery ones. We have some that fit in with horror films, and then my absolute favorite, and um, let me find. There we go. So this is just a smaller one. My big one is in here somewhere. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah,
That's my favorite, and she's so glittery as well.
yeah.
Um,
Fantastic.
so yeah, I do. I have some very humorous ones. Um, Things like that. There's this
And
one as well, actually.
and you design all these, do you?
No, I do. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So there's this one. It's not a conspiracy theory if it's true. Um, so yeah, you can tell the kind of thought processes that I have.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
but yeah, there's some funny ones. There's some evident parenting ones. So there's like a ticket here that says "Admit one to the emotional roller coaster." Just
Uh-huh.
all sorts of humorous. And then there's lovely parenting ones, creative ones, ones suitable for children. And I'm just constantly designing them. In fact, my favorite thing to do is to stay up on a Friday night and I'll sit here with my headphones on
Uh-huh.
watching Friends on TV while my husband sleeps, designing stickers until about 5 o'clock in the morning.
Really?
And it's my
Wow.
favorite thing to do. So
That's
yeah, I
amazing.
think if anything, that's the only bad thing, is because I've then got to try and list every single one of them somewhere, and there's so many because I can't stop designing them. It's too much
Wow.
fun.
Oh my God.
So
See,
yeah.
I think that's possibly, is that one of the side effects of the ADHD? That
Yes,
creativity, that,
yes, I think
yeah,
so. Yeah.
yeah,
Once this is, I would say it's almost like designing the stickers is my dopamine hit on it. And so I keep
yeah.
wanting to do more because I'm like, I mean, my poor husband, the amount of times I've said to him, look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this. And I'm giving my stickers out to my family members. I did have, do you know, I do have one that's in all of my family members' cars at the moment. I'll show you, but it's reversed because it's
Okay.
a car window sticker. And obviously, we have the elections coming up, don't we?
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
And
Yeah.
so I have these car stickers that I made for all of my family, and it
Do,
says,
do not consent.
sorry, yeah. And it'll say like Sheep's Day Out, the date, which is coincidentally today.
Yeah.
Vote for your favorite idiot, and then just as I do not consent on it. So yeah, my family members love me because I'm just constantly,
Yeah.
here's some stickers, you know, advertise my work. So yeah.
That is really cool. I love that. That's fantastic. And I mean, it's really nice as well, I think, for kids to see a parent as well, not, like just with a business, with something they can do from home, and to understand that there's more out there than 9 to 5.
Yes,
And to
yeah,
get that
this is it.
understanding at a young age. Because like I said, I left school at 16, I went straight to work. And, it's only in the last, I mean, I ran my own business for like 15 years, but it was still work effectively. I mean, it was my own business, but it was still a job. And, I still do work now, but I do work that I actually enjoy a lot more than I used to. And it doesn't feel like work. So, and it's nice that my kids can see that as well and see that you can do these things from home and that you can you don't have to be beholden to anyone. You can be your own boss.
Yeah.
And of course it won't suit all of them, but it's great for them to actually just witness that.
Yeah, this is it. I think as well, like, I mean, my kids at the minute, and I totally get it. I mean, my kids went from saying, you know, oh, my mum's an author and an artist and she does yada,
Yeah.
yada, yada, to being like, my mum makes stickers. She makes stickers, my children are obsessed with stickers. So they're like, my
What
mum's
what
making me
child isn't?
stickers. I know, right? And it's like, it's like feeding my inner child. My inner child
Yeah.
right now is
Yeah.
like, yes, we're making stickers. So yeah, there's something really exciting about that.
Oh, that's
But yeah.
amazing. That's really wonderful. And do you have any trouble sort of, I mean, apart from the fact that you're designing stickers up until 5 in the morning, which presumably has a bit of an impact on your Saturday, do you find that you struggle to sort of balance like the author stuff and you obviously you're going to be trying to sort of self-publish now, presumably as well, and the stickers and everything else and promoting those. Do you have trouble balancing that with sort of home ed and with, just general life?
Um, so the thing is with me having ADHD, I I don't do well in routine
Yeah.
at all. In fact, I will tell myself I need routine. If I have to go to the shops, I must write this shopping list. I have to, and I'll write
Yeah.
it out, but I never take it with me ever. It's almost like I have to plan just to
Yeah.
then sweep the plans away out the way. No, because the plans aren't very fun. We're very much a live in the moment kind of family,
Yeah.
which is great. My children absolutely thrive in that environment, which is perfect. They're so much more energetic and happy and interested in doing things since we've been doing home education, whereas they were coming home from school and they were tired and just
Yeah.
feeling really deflated. And the weekend is such a precious time, usually, whereas now our weekends consist of us lolling about in the house watching films because we're
Yeah.
out there in the week where there's
Yeah.
not many people out there. And I know that sounds awful because, socialization, excuse me, is such a huge part of children's development, but that can also be socialization with an adult. That can
Exactly.
be
Exactly.
socialization with animals.
Yeah.
They can learn so much from adults. I'm not saying let's talk to strangers. Never, I wouldn't put my children in any kind of dangerous situation. But for example, if we were out, say, having some lunch on a park bench and there was an old man that was sat there and he had a story to tell my children, like that
Yeah.
is such an experience that you just can't get in a school. You can't read that in
Yeah.
a book. Like you
Yeah.
only have that firsthand. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I do
Um,
love that. I love watching my kids interact with adults because they treat them as equals because they've not, obviously they've got mum and dad who are like their authority figures, but then they've not been taught in the classroom that teacher, you sit when you're told to sit, you stand up when you're told to stand up, you go to the toilet when you're allowed to. There's not been this kind of authority figure at the front. And so they therefore they view adults as just as like a bigger version of them.
yeah, this is it.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And if they feel that as well, don't they? You can really see it in them.
yeah,
You can see if an adult wants to talk to them and give them that time of conversation. It's almost like for the children that have been in the system, it's almost like a shock to them initially because they're not
yeah,
used to that. They're used to having to wait until you're spoken to sort of thing,
yeah,
don't do this, don't do that. Whereas adults these days, if they see a child out of school, it's, oh, what's going on? So
yeah.
then they want to know. And the pair of them just feed each other's curiosity, and it's beautiful.
It is though. It's really, really wonderful. What I think I'm going to call it a day there. It's been really lovely chatting to you, Lexi. Thank you ever so much for taking the time out. And I just think that was a really nice note to end on. Actually, just that really beautiful, positive note about socialization and the interaction between adults and children. Because the other thing I found is that since they've been at home, or with them at home, I have a much closer relationship with them than I did with my older daughter who went through the school system. I mean, I'm close to my older daughter, but it's just different.
Yeah, this is it.
Yeah.
It's such a different, it's unique, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it absolutely is. Well, thanks again. And what we'll do, well, for anybody that's interested in the stickers or your books, we'll put some links in the post with the video. And we'll get those out there because I think I love what you're doing.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you so much. No, thank you for having me. It's been lovely to sit and talk to you.
Oh, no, you're welcome. Thanks again, Lexi. Take care.
No worries. Take care.
Bye bye.